Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 44 of the Unwrapped Leader Podcast, where we get raw, real, and relevant in the new network marketing and helping you become a gifted leader in your business. My name is Teisha from Alberta, Canada.
And I'm Dracy from the Gold Coast in Australia.
Awesome. So I'm excited for this episode. And before we get started, though, Dracy, I have to ask, I honestly have never seen you wear a hat on a podcast before. So I have to ask, is there like significance, or are you just hat day?
Okay. So this is really funny. And it's about, like what you think about comes about and the laws of attraction. So I actually was at the park with my grandson, and I went to rescue him, and I actually did a huge bonk on my head. Now I got a bit of makeup on, but there was a bit of a scar, and I was like, but I saved him. That's the long and the short of it. So I was like, oh, I got to get myself a hat, because as you know, I don't really normally wear a hat so much. I wear a big brim one because of the sun. And you and I were just talking the other day about you getting a nice pink suit. We're talking about, oh, maybe you should get like a lightning bolt logo, on it. We were just talking about, oh, I should probably get like a teal suit or something like that, and I'll get double D's. You asked me what logo would I do. Lo and behold, I go to Casey's house, and her partner was at the op shop, and he found this hat. And I go, oh my God, that's my Unwrapped Leader cap. And I go, well, what's this? And it's like a flag, like a golf flag. I go, a golf flag. Oh, that's pretty cool, because, the golf flag is the symbol of focus. But then you turn this around and you're not going to believe it. Look. Oh, can you see it? It's got double D's on it.
That's hilarious. Wow.
How is that for attracting a hat that's made just perfect for me for this podcast to hide the scar on my forehead?
Oh gosh. Well,
but now I got the perfect logo. When I get my teal suit, I'm going to get the double D's put on it.
That's awesome. For those who are listening on Spotify, she has a teal hat. Of course, it's teal. With a white little logo on the front. But that's awesome, significant, and it's like the things that just appear when you're supposed to see them. That's cool. You look really good though in hats. Honestly.
Oh, thank you. And I started doing hot yoga again. It's been a couple of years since I've been practicing. I'm really stiff, but I've been I've shown up 3 times already this week. So I'm getting back into the groove, and it feels good. So, and hence I got the yoga gear on. So I'm dressed for the part. This is good for our topic today, getting serious.
Yes, exactly. Well, let's dive into it. So today, guys, we wanted to talk to you about how to get people to take your network marketing business seriously, because I feel like this is something so many people struggle with. And the truth is, the network marketing industry isn't the cookie cutter path that majority of people encourage when they're looking at what is my kid going to do when they grow up, or what am I going to do when I grow up. Like, that's not, the cookie cutter path. And I hate anything that's cookie cutter, because I always think there's like so many ways to do something. Like, just my business mindset and the type of, I guess, like energy and person I am, I always feel like there's not a right or wrong way. Like, everyone kind of has different ways that they think of how something should be done. And, a lot of people are quick to judge, like, that's not the way to do it, or that's not the way to do it. But I think there's multiple ways to do everything. And so I don't like the whole cookie cutter, like, you go to school, you graduate, you go to university, you find a boyfriend, you get married, you have a kid, like the exact like order of that everything should be done in. I don't love that. And I think that we need to change that. We need to just change that approach that people take to, this is the next step. And so, the network marketing industry, it, like, just in general, I'm sure there are people for sure that say like you should consider it and whatnot, but it's just not. Even like coming from a family where, my mom has been in the industry for over 30 years, it still wasn't something she's like, this is what you should do when you're older, right? Like, I mean, we made jokes here and there, like, oh, you're gonna, like, she's with Avon. She's like, you're gonna be the Avon lady when you're older. I'm like, no, I'm not. But we made those kind of jokes, but we never said anything like you could do this full time or you should go into that, even though I came from a family that had success in it. And it just wasn't something we really spoke about. So I feel like when people do get started in this industry, not many people, I think, see it as professional right off the bat. It's definitely something that you kind of learn and grow into. But mindset does play such a huge role in your success in getting started. Because if you don't take your business seriously, then no one else is going to take your business seriously. So knowing your company's values, knowing your company's worth and what it has to offer people, and not just your companies, because you and your company are not the same thing. You joining a company or you being a part and partnering yourself with a company offers so much more than just what your company offers, but knowing your company's worth and what you have to offer, and specifically yourself too, because, you know, one advantage we have in this industry is that we offer we don't just, if you're with a company that offers products, you don't just offer a product, you offer a service, and it's all about the experience. And that's what we have over like retail stores and the like brick and mortar stores, is that we have such good customer service. We can have that, and we can really help ourselves by standing out and being of service to people in the way that they want to be served. So I'm really excited for this topic because, again, this is something that I definitely learned along the way. I, you know, grew up with that cookie cutter approach. This is what you do next. And, you know, turning this industry as a hobby into a job and then into a professional business and now my career has been so rewarding. And I really want to share that with other people and just offer you guys some tips and just some advice on really how to present yourself and, you know, present your business to people in a serious manner, in a professional manner. So Dracy, I'll let you kick us off with this and what you want to share.
Well, that's great. And, you know, you talk about this cookie cutter approach. And when I actually started in the industry 30 years ago, it technically really was a cookie cutter approach. And then when I moved to Australia, there was no way they were going to accept a cookie cutter approach at all. It totally was dough on my face. And I had to really learn some, you know, a new way and a new approach to this business and this industry. But I guess now as we talk about, and we've probably said this a few times on a podcast, it's more like a cookie recipe. You know, there's a few simple ingredients that need to be in all of it. You know, a few simple disciplines, but the rest you can throw in the mix and create your own yummy cookie and make it, you know, very incredibly where everybody wants to have a bite of it. And that's where our personality comes in. That's why being authentic, being fearless, being personal, being brave, you know, is such a big part of this industry. And hence why you and I have decided to make it a mission that this profession is legit and it does change people's lives. And most importantly, we've been able to have a career with it. You've got to meet so many women now, Teisha, and men that have had like long-standing careers, 10, 20, 30 years in the industry. We've even had on our podcast, Sandy Canton on 40 years in the industry. And I think Celine Egan as well was like 35 years. So there's a real profession. It's an industry that makes a difference. But many people do see it as a side hustle or maybe not so serious. And that has a lot to do with those of us in the industry, how we present it and how we present it as a gift, because this industry has so many fantastic gifts. And that number one is that opportunity. Number two is that self-development in there, as well as the leadership, to be able to have leadership, not just in your business, but in all areas of your life. And so when you were talking about your mom, she genuinely 30 years has this as a side hustle. You know, she works full time and has this as a side hustle very proudly. But man, she's created such a community within her business. And I was actually thinking about her this morning, you know, just what she does and how she does it. And it's so in line with who she is, getting to know people and knowing what's going on in her community and just being really at the roots and the front line of her community and helping and serving. And so, you know, how we stand up so proud of that, I think is amazing. And then we talk about, like you said, you should do this, you should do this. You know, there's like a formula, you know, for a life's path of 40 years of, you know, and then at the end of those 40 years, you know, like what do you have at the end of those 40 years? That word should is other people's values. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those values. I want to just say some people know deep in their heart, in their gut, there is more for them. There's more out of life. They want to give more. They want to make a huge impact because their intention is sincere and genuine. And so that's why when we talk about taking this business serious, number one is you have to take it serious, whether it's a side hustle or whether it's full-time or whether it's big time. And I guess there's some things that are really, if you think about that, help that. And there's three things I always talk about when I get a new recruit or a new distributor getting started in the business. I first and foremost get them to get really clear about when they get started, why they got started. And for myself, for many years, and it has not changed, it has always stayed the same and true, and it can change and stay the same. But mine has always been the flexibility. Number one, I started this industry because of the flexibility. And number two, because of the unlimited income opportunity. That is my why. And so it's making sure, ask yourself, get clear on why you are doing this. And Teisha, like you know why you do this. And maybe you can just share this with the audience when I get through the three, you can share your why. And then number two is, what do you love about it? Okay. Tell people what you love about it. Myself, I was in social selling. I was in a party plan company. I love the host rewards. I love sending my hostesses on free shopping sprees. I love them inviting me into their home to share and showcase these beautiful products that I was so passionate about. And I loved the products that I was sharing and showcasing. I just loved how it lit up the room, and just everybody had that. It was like the last affordable luxury. And so those were the things I love. So get clear on the things you love. So share 2 or 3 things of your why, 2 or 3 things of what you love. And then the third one is how you plan to serve them. And so how do you plan to serve them? How do you plan to help them? What kind of experience you plan to give them? Or why are you sharing this with them? And so I think that really makes it clear. And so I like to really say that's the first thing I sit down and I get clear on. Then the other thing I love to do, especially now more than ever before with social media, is getting all of your platforms looking more professional, making sure that that profile picture is just your headshot and no one else in there, and that it's clear and they can see your energy and the essence in your smile and your eyes, as well as then that bio, making sure that bio has that magnetic message in it of who you help and how you serve and what that promise is and what that simple steps are to take that journey in there. And so I think before we move forward, Teisha, did you want to share a little bit about how you share why you do this and what you love about it and how you serve?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're just starting in this industry, sometimes it's hard to know exactly what your why is, because it's just, you ask someone, why do you do this? And something very just, I think, basic and surface level kind of comes into your head. It could be for money. It could be for,
by getting a new car,
Yeah, exactly. Right. And like at the end of the day, one thing I think people don't realize is like everything that you do this for does come down to something that extra money can help with. Like if you want time freedom, like it's the extra income that's going to help you achieve time freedom, right? So that you can, maybe it is another job that you're in that you don't love or you want to spend less time at, right? So you can have that time freedom and you could work from anywhere and make that money from your phone or social media or however you kind of run your business. But everything with time freedom, financial freedom, even having like the community, the community is honestly like amazing. And I've never been surrounded by so many positive and uplifting people with this. But I still think at the end of the day, it was Justin Prince actually who told me, he said, if your company all of a sudden told you like, okay, guys, like say you said, I'm here for the community or I'm here for the time freedom or whatever. It's like, if your company all of a sudden told you that, we want you guys to keep doing the exact same thing. We're just making some small changes. Just basically like no one's getting paid now. Like keep doing what you're doing, but no one's going to get paid. Like no one's going to keep going, right? Like you're like all that stuff is formed around, I feel like, yes, there's a community and yes, there's, it's the friendships and everything are amazing. But at the end of the day, like whether you know it or not, in my opinion, like people are there for the money because the money is what's going to allow them to open up those pass to all the other things that they want. And so when it comes to like my why, there's definitely something deeper rooted that I never realized when I started, because I always just thought I was doing it for fun and for happiness and just because like it brought me joy. Because at the time I was a full-time university student and I never really felt like I necessarily needed money. Like I was on student loans, but it would be great to pay those back. But that wasn't anything that was at the top of my mind. Like I want money. Like it was just like, this could be something kind of fun. And I really like the product. And I think a lot of people fall in love with the product to start. And you might be one of those people that's like, oh, well, my why is that I love the product. I love the discount. But at the end of the day, it's the money and it's the things you're earning that's allowing you to get that at a discount, that's allowing you to, share that with your friends. So I guess when like I really thought down deeper to what it was and to ask yourself why, like up to 5 times, be like, okay, well, Teisha, why is it important that you're happy? Like, why is it important that this, brings you joy? And at the moment in my life, like I was in a situation where I felt like my energy, I think, was just being really consumed. And I really struggled with the profession that I was in, even though I was a student at the time, like coming home and just shutting my brain off. It was so hard for me. And it really just brought me a lot of anxiety, is like trying to, learn something the day before and then go to my teaching practicum and teach it the next day. Like that kind of stuff was so hard for me. And like mentally, I felt like, teaching and educating is what I was meant to do, but it was just very challenging. And I remember thinking like, there's no way this is like what I'm cut out to do for the rest of my life. So I think at the time, having something fun and something that was bringing me joy was really important, because what I found in this practicum is that I started to struggle with my mental health and just being mentally in it and actually wanting to wake up and go do my job, right? Like I would just look forward to coming home and working on my business. And so what it really came down to was honestly like my mental health and the fact that I didn't want to feel the way that I felt anymore. And having the business that's brought me so many more things than just income, but it's brought me like, a sense of confidence that what I say does matter, and that, I can inspire people and I can lead people. That was something I never looked at myself as. So, being able to sit here and be like, I am confident in what I'm doing. I'm passionate in what I'm doing. To have a burning passion for what you're doing is such a game changer, because I never felt that when I was teaching. And I remember when I went into teaching too, I was even like, was I set out to do this? Like, I honestly, it was confusing to me and it just didn't feel right. And when like when you know that you love something and that you have found what you were meant to do, you just know. And if someone would have told me that when I was, in teaching or before that, I would just be like, I don't know what you mean. Like, what kind of sign am I looking for? And it's just that feeling of, I think honestly, I think it's that feeling of being confident and even having the courage to put yourself out there and get a little bit uncomfortable, because when you really, really love something, you're willing to get a little bit uncomfortable with it to make it happen. Where when it came to things that I wasn't passionate about, I was quiet. I was laid back. I didn't want to share my thoughts. I didn't want people to hear what I had to say because I just wasn't confident in that sense. So I honestly believe, and this just goes back to why we wrote our book, The Unwrapped Leader. I think everybody is a leader within them in whatever industry or field that they choose, but they just have to really find what they love and what they're passionate about and pursue that in order to unwrap those gifts that they actually have within them, because everyone has gifts in them to be a leader in any industry that they choose to pursue, but you just have to make that first choice and say like, I'm going to pursue it. So sorry, kind of went on a rant there.
Yes, you did, but that's okay. And that was really inspiring. So what I would say to the audience now is what I had just done with Teisha, and I did put her on the spot. I asked why she would do this, what she loves about it and all that. And so I would extract that from her and I would say, okay, now when you do a presentation, this is what you say. And so you want to keep your presentation super simple, less than 30 seconds and that. So Teisha would say, okay, this is what I would recommend, and she can tweak it. But she started this because of the fun, the free product, and the friendship. And what she loved about it is the confidence that she had learned and gained in it, and being able to, at the end of the day, be able to do something she was incredibly passionate about it. Why she's sharing this with you is because she's discovered there's an opportunity for everybody. And so I encourage you to watch what I do and see if you can see yourself doing the same. And that's how I would capture and create an opening for every single person that I get started in the business in recruiting. So when they go and do a presentation, or when they're talking to their family or their friends, they can remember, instead of babbling, they can remember why they do this, what they love about it, and how they're here to serve and share. And so that would be my little thing to be able to share. Was that helpful, Teisha? Did you like that?
Yeah, no, I really loved it. Dracy's so good at like listening and extracting a message from this is my favorite thing that we do with one-on-one clients, is like going through that 1 hour session with them and then extracting everything that they've told us that they value, that they love, that brings them joy, and then crafting that like magnetic message for them to share with the world. Like, and Dracy's amazing at it. So I love doing those calls with you because you're just so good at, and every time you do it, I'm just like, you nailed it. And I could see the expression too on like our clients' faces when you say it. They're just like, wow. Like,
it's goosebump experience we get. isn't it? Like even
It
just
is.
right now, like that's a goosebump experience. And when you can just listen to someone's story and extract it and say, okay, here's where we're going to go with this. This is how we can get very specific and very clear. And if we can get clear with that commitment that you have, and be courageous, this is where the magic happens. It absolutely does. And so before I finish with what I wanted to share, again, the next thing I really want you to think about is when somebody says, what do you do? Think about what your answer is, because what you don't want to do is just say, oh, I work for a health and wellness company, or I sell candles, or I sell skincare, like that whole I sell, or, oh, I do. I think it's something you want to get more intentional in. And so like in Teisha and I's case, we help network marketers get very clear on becoming gifted leaders within their business. And so we're very clear on that. Or if you work, and again, if you're in this full-time or part-time, it could even change. If you're lead from the front on a product, you may even showcase it a little bit different. Or if you're leading from the front on the opportunity, it may say something a little bit different. And I believe we have it very specific in our book, right, Teisha? We're very specific on selling your position on what actually to say. Did you want to share some examples on that, Teisha?
Sure. Yeah, so it's on the chapter. It's the gift of selling your position, and we actually have an entire page that says what to say when someone asks you, because you don't just want to be like, oh, it's just like a little side business, or I just sell this, right? Like that's when people are like, oh, it's not a big deal, right? If you make a big deal out of it, people think it's a big deal. But if you really like treat it as something little, side, whatever, like it's just, people don't look at it as that. So however you see it is how other people are going to see it. So I'll just share a little part of it. So we have 3 examples on the page, and I'll share one of them. But these are just a few things that can help you kind of form that message too. And really getting down to the root of your why is such an important part of this, because that's going to be part of figuring out who you actually serve. So like example, on my social media, I have helping business builders increase their confidence and income through social media. I love social media. That's always where I've excelled. And as you guys just heard, confidence was a huge part of my journey, and feeling like I never felt like I was a confident person until I started doing this. And it's because I realized this is what I was meant to do, right? When you can have confidence doing something, that's what you were meant to do.
And sorry, Teisha, and what's amazing about that, when you say that, like if somebody comes to your door, or you just meet someone in the elevator and they ask what you do, when you say that, it takes away from you trying to sell them on something. And so they relax and they actually go, oh, on social media, what is it that they do? So then they start asking more engaging questions. So then it allows you to build rapport, get to know them, get their number, or get them on in this case nowadays, it's, like your Instagram handle or your Facebook, and you're all of a sudden connecting, and then they see you showing up more, and then you invite them to whatever event you have, whether it's an opportunity event or a product event. And that is kind of the journey of our customers today. It's those high touches versus trying to sell them on the first meeting in that sense. So
Yeah, exactly. And like the main thing that you want to follow, this is just a very open-ended, like basic example that I use in the book, but this is also something that could help you craft that bio. So when people do come onto your profile on Facebook or Instagram or whatever social media platforms you're on, they know exactly how you can serve them. And it's just following the basics of I help others with, well, you want to actually fill in what your ideal audience is. Is it moms? Is it, what is your ideal audience? Is it business builders? Is it people over 40? Like, what is it, right? So I help blank with blank by doing blank. So I know that sounds really confusing, but it's like, what do you help people with and how do you help them do it, right? And for me, it's like, I'm helping people increase their income and their confidence, and I'm doing this through social media, right? So I'm attracting people who are on social media, people who want to create an income through social media and want to build up their confidence. And so that's just one of the examples in the book. And there are a couple more in there. But also another one that I heard that I really, really loved, if you're someone looking to, build your team and leadership, is I mentor entrepreneurs who are looking to build an income online. And you could be more specific, through their phones, through their laptops, or whatever. And so those are just a couple examples that we've used. But Dracy, is there anything to add to that? Otherwise, I'll get into a couple tips.
Sure. And so I want you to think you're at a party. I mean, not a business party. You're at a rockin' party, a family, friends. You were invited to something. Maybe you were invited to a friend's where you don't even know anybody. But let me tell you this. If you had a doctor in a room, a lawyer in a room, and an entrepreneur in the room, who do you think people want to talk to? guaranteed it's the entrepreneur. And so the word entrepreneur has so much power, and we are entrepreneurs. We just happen to have a network marketing system that makes it so simple and creates a community of personal development. So be proud of being an entrepreneur. Use that word as your power word, your superhero word, and really honor and enjoy it. And you are a professional, whether it is part-time, full-time, or big time.
Yes, absolutely. So I'll get into a couple tips I just want to share with them. We've covered honestly some of them, but just a few extra things is one, present yourself as an authority in your space. So if you're trying to attract people to join your team and to be a part of your organization, to, grow as a team together, like you need to present yourself as an authority, right? And not necessarily come off as like, I just really need someone on my team. Like more so like, flip it around. Like, why do they need you? Why do they need this opportunity? And really share things online, in person, on what you do and why you're successful and why it's such a great space to be in. And this is what I started doing. I mean, my bigger goal was always to be a coach in this industry and do exactly what Dracy and I are doing now. So I started presenting myself as an authority in this space by sharing tips for like leadership tips, and if that's again what you're trying to do is become a leader, start sharing things about leadership. It doesn't matter if you feel like you're not an expert or what. You don't have to be an expert. I'm not an expert. Like just share what you know. Like you learned something on a training that day, go on your story, go live, go make a post about what you learned that day. It doesn't even matter if you're like, I just went on this live with so-and-so and they just taught me this. Like you're still relaying that information, and people are going to start to come to you because they're like, oh, she shares really good information on this. And so when people do decide that maybe this is something for them, they're going to go to someone who talks about it, who knows about it, and who shares information and presents themselves as an authority. So it just comes down to, showing up professional and looking at this industry as professional and being consistent with it. I think that's also something that comes with professionalism is like, a professional isn't going to show up one month and then completely drop out the next and decide when they want to show up. Professionals show up consistently, and consistently means whatever you can do consistently, right? So showing up consistently is part of that professionalism, and being proud and passionate for what you're doing, right? And I know it could be, hard coming into this and having that mindset like, okay, am I going to be successful? It's like being her before you become her, and presenting as, if you want to be confident, then start presenting as confidence. And I know that's like easier said than done, but sometimes it was talked about the other day is like having this alter ego where it's like, I'm going to come off as a confident person even if I'm not, but that's what's going to help you build on that confidence, right? I'm going to come off as a leader even though maybe right now you don't feel like you are, but the more you present yourself as one, the more people see you as one, the more people ask you questions, and that's how you are going to become one essentially, right? So remember, just add value to everything that you're doing. Don't have what we call commission breath and just going out there to make a sale or, sell something through your whatever, like who wants to buy this? Like, just add value everywhere you can on your products, on your programs, on your life, like everything that is important and of value to you. You just want to be adding value to people's lives, sharing real live testimonials about what people have really been able to achieve in a business like this, especially if you're looking to get into leadership, right? Like you need to talk about it. If you want to build your team and you're like, how come no one's joining me? Go take a look at what you're posting and what you're talking about. Are you talking about it? Do people even know that you're actively looking to build a team, right? Like that's really important to talk about. And just so that it's on people's minds, like when people think of, your business or network marketing, you want them to think of you. So how are you going to present yourself as an authority in that space? And, start showing up online where people are just going to, you're going to have that like trademark, like people think of you for something. And it might not be business related, but if you talk about business and you have that special little, I don't know what it's called, like a little spice in you that people just know, that's her, like that's where people are going to remember you for those things. So have that sort of, I guess, like unique element that you can offer everyone in everything that you talk about, right? So those are the tips that I had to share on that. So I'll let you close out.
And Thank you, sweetheart. And the unique element is your essence. And if you think about what your essence is the experience and the environment and the energy that you give. And so getting clear on your brand pillars makes that difference. And then just remember that, yeah, that's them knowing about you, but remember the thing that they're going to remember the most is how you made them feel. So this finishes off why it's so important for you to be interested versus so interesting, and why it's so important, no matter if you're brand new in the business or been in the business for a long time, just focus on why you do this, what you love about it, and how you serve them. And then turn it around by asking the questions. And a super simple way we talk about it is our Lord. Think of your Lord, find out about them, their location, their occupation, their recreation, and their destination, meaning their dreams and goals. Those are simple questions to get to know more about them, and they will remember you. And that is the power in getting this and them taking you serious. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It's been a fun one. Teisha, we came up with the idea, loved it, had a shower, come out, and this is what we're able to do in our morning of waking up and making this happen. So it was fun. Again, if you've liked this, please like it. If you think it was awesome, share it. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you really want to wrap this up, we do have our free Unwrap Your Brand Masterclass. It really helps you get clear. It helps you get serious about you being a professional network marketer. Thanks for joining in.
Thanks, guys. Bye. See you next week.